Now, doctors can't find a cure for chronic disease. The brightest minds we are in the 2017. You know, we're not in 1917. We're in 2017. We've got 100 years of medical evolution and medical, the cutting edge. We can send satellites to Mars. We can send the Mars rover and land on Mars, and an operator back here can send that Mars rover around Mars. But we still can't find cures for chronic disease, because what the problem is that the current techniques, and I'm generalizing because chronic disease is a huge field. It goes into heart disease, neurological problems like MS and Parkinson's. It goes into asthma. It goes into chronic joint and muscle pain. It goes into a lot of things. Now, the reason the doctors can't find a cure for that, and all they do is they prescribe chemicals to neutralize the symptoms, or they prescribe surgery. Now, the problem with I'm just going to go on a little meandering stream right now. The problem with surgery and medication is that with surgery, people have back operations and knee operations, and all power to you. Go and do it if you believe, and if it works for you, all power to you. You're the person, you're the man, you're the woman. In my understanding is that you haven't worked through the stuff that's created the mind, body, unconscious mind issues, baggage, survival emotions that have created those problems. Really, you've put a band-aid, which has been a surgery. They've done a surgery, and that's created. You feel better. And sometimes, there was an interesting study done where they did knee surgeries where they had doctors do 8 placebos. If you've ever heard about placebos is a fake surgery where they don't do surgery. They had 10 patients in, and they said to them, and the 10 patients thought that they were going in for proper knee surgeries where they go in and they scrape out the cartilage and do whatever they got to do on their knees. And what happened is 8 out of these 10 patients, 8 had placebo surgeries where the doctors just did an incision and then they sewed it up while the patient was under anesthetic. They couldn't see it. And with the other 2, they did proper knee surgeries. The interesting thing is that 6 out of the 8 people who had placebo surgeries reported feeling pretty awesome and better. They felt like, oh yeah, I've got my range of movement back. But the doctors had not done anything. Really, what had happened was it was an emotional catharsis for them. There's many reasons why that placebos work, and that's what had happened for them. So I'm just pointing out that's happened. Even with depression medication, they've shown that placebo medication, depression medication, they've shown that they did a study, and 82% of people on a placebo medication, which is a sugar pill, actually felt they'd improved. They felt like they felt happier. They felt in a better state of mind simply from taking a little sugar pill, which they thought was one of the most powerful drugs out there, and that's the power of placebo. And there's been so much written about the power of placebo, and I will be talking about it in future videos. Lost my train of thought with this video. The important thing to understand is that the human mind, the unconscious mind, is so powerful in terms of healing your body, healing your mind, and making you better. It is so powerful. It can also make you sick. How does it make you sick? Like I've mentioned in previous videos, it makes you sick when you perceive that there are threats in your unconscious mind, when you're running unresolved survival emotions like guilt, anger, shame, pessimism, depression, fury, rage, a lot of jealousy, and fear. Did I mention fear? And a lot of other emotions like that on the survival scale. Then what happens is your unconscious mind perceives that you're under threat, and you're under if you're a fearful person, if you're an anxious person, you're running this program, you're running these fears, and what's happening every time you feel fearful, anxious, and every time you feel angry or shameful, what happens is you are shutting down your immune system. Your immune system, your body cannot go and relax and repair itself. What happens is it has to go and send all the blood to your arms and legs ready to fight this threat, this unconscious threat, this threat in your imagination, in your unconscious mind, or to run from it. Now, back to medication and surgery. So medication and surgery are the number one solutions for chronic disease at the moment. There's no cure, but there are medications. And the problem is when you take medication or when you have surgery, you're not dealing with the emotional stuff beneath the surface. If you have chemo, and chemo has been shown, and I saw a video recently, that chemo has been shown to have a 97% failure rate. A 97% failure rate in helping people with cancer, yet they still do it. And it's kind of silly. It's really ridiculous. You've got to find this doctor. It's online. You go and search it up. 97% failure rate, but people still do it. Why? Because it's just the accepted path to go along. It's a big money industry. Don't get me started. I'm not going to go there. All right. Okay. So the thing with, if you take medication, if you take and you do surgery, especially with medication really works to neutralize the symptoms. If you're asthmatic, you'll take your inhaler, your preventer, whatever it is. If you have depression, you'll take whatever medication you do to give you a bit of a lift, or whatever it is to calm down your nerves. But you're not calming, you're not resolving the root causes, which is in your unconscious mind, which is those unresolved survival emotions, the unresolved trauma from the past. Maybe when you were in the womb, you had unresolved trauma. Depends what your parents were like. If your parents were fighting and arguing when you were a baby, when you were in the womb, that's created who you are today. That's created your problems today. That is the foundation of everything that is happening for you today that's not working. So if it's not working in your life, we can trace things back to our childhood. It always goes there. And we can do it. The thing is, we can heal this much more rapidly than conventional therapy, where it takes 20 years of sitting on a psychologist's couch and them getting you to associate into your story. You can actually work through it by being able to just go back and change the neurology around and the way your brain perceives that and associating into that past pain and past trauma. So your mind can go, unconscious mind can let it go. Just let it go. Cool. So that's how it works. So that's the problem with surgery and medication, is that it treats the symptoms, but it doesn't deal with the underlying root causes that are making you chronically ill, or whatever it is you're going through in your chronic disease or chronic pain, chronic asthma, whatever it is. It doesn't deal with that. So what happens is you tend to have this chronic thing till the end of your life. But I believe that if you work through the unconscious mind, you work through that stuff, you're going to be able to heal that. You're going to be able to go back and restore that. Your body's going to be able to go back to homeostasis. All these unconscious threats are worked through. Your body goes back to homeostasis. Your body can do what it's meant to do, repair tissue, go around and replace all the blood cells in your body, because blood cells, we've got 70 trillion cells in our body. They're either growing, they're neutral, they're dying. So when they're able to do what they're doing, they're growing. But when we're not repairing our body and our systems, we're dying, we're progressively weakening. Okay, so that's how it works. This is Roger McDonald from the Healing Warrior program. You can heal your life now. Got any questions? Send me a message. Have an awesome day.